In the quiet, unassuming town of Culver, Maryland, a series of inexplicable events began to unfold. It was the summer of 1949, and the townspeople were blissfully unaware of the horror that was about to befall them. The story begins with a young girl named Regan MacNeil, a bright and cheerful 12-year-old who lives with her mother, Chris, an actress. Regan was a typical child, full of life and curiosity, but as the summer progressed, her behavior began to change. At first, it was subtle, a few unexplained bruises, a sudden onset of night terrors. But as the weeks went by, the changes became more pronounced. Regan's once sweet demeanor turned sour, and she began to exhibit bizarre, violent behavior. She would curse and scream obscenities, her voice deepening to a guttural growl. She would levitate off her bed, her body contorting in ways that defied the laws of physics. Chris, desperate for answers, sought the help of doctors and psychiatrists, but none could provide a satisfactory explanation for Regan's condition. It was then that a family friend, Father Damien Karras, suggested that Regan might be possessed by a demonic entity. Father Karras, a Jesuit priest and psychiatrist, was initially skeptical of the idea of possession. However, as he spent more time with Regan, he became convinced that something truly evil had taken hold of her. He reached out to his mentor, Father Lankester Merrin, an expert in demonology, for assistance. Father Merrin arrived in Culver, and the two priests began the arduous process of exorcising the demon from Regan's body. The exorcism took place in the MacNeil household, a once peaceful home now filled with an oppressive, eerie atmosphere. As the exorcism progressed, the atmosphere in the room grew increasingly hostile. The air was thick with the stench of sulfur, and the temperature seemed to drop to an unbearable chill. The priests could hear whispers and growls emanating from Regan's room, even when she was silent. During one particularly intense session, Regan's body began to convulse violently, and she spoke in a deep, guttural voice that was not her own. She claimed to be Pazuzu, the ancient Mesopotamian demon of disease and destruction. Father Merrin and Father Karras fought valiantly against the demon, reciting prayers and performing holy rituals. But Pazuzu was relentless, and the priests found themselves pushed to the brink of exhaustion. As the exorcism reached its climax, the demon's hold on Regan seemed to weaken. Father Merrin, sensing victory, pressed on, determined to free the young girl from Pazuzu's grasp. But just as it seemed that the demon was about to be vanquished, Father Merrin suffered a fatal heart attack. With their mentor gone, Father Karras was left to face Pazuzu alone. In a desperate bid to save Regan, he offered himself as a vessel for the demon, hoping to draw it away from the innocent girl. The demon, sensing an opportunity, eagerly accepted Father Karras' offer. As Pazuzu entered his body, Father Karras' demeanor changed, and he began to speak in the same guttural voice that had once belonged to Regan. Father Karras, now possessed by the demon, lunged at Regan, intent on killing her. But before he could reach her, he was stopped by Chris, who had been watching the exorcism from the sidelines. In a moment of clarity, Father Karras realized the gravity of his situation. He knew that he could not allow Pazuzu to continue its reign of terror, and so, with a final act of selflessness, he threw himself out of the window, plunging to his death on the pavement below. With Pazuzu's vessel destroyed, the demon was forced to leave Regan's body. The young girl, now free from the demon's influence, slowly began to recover. The town of Culver was forever changed by the events that had transpired. The MacNeil household, once a symbol of warmth and love, now stood as a haunting reminder of the horror that had taken place within its walls. As for Father Karras, his sacrifice would not be forgotten. He was remembered as a hero, a man who had given his life to save an innocent child from the clutches of evil. And though the memory of the exorcism would fade with time, the story of the unholy possession would live on, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human soul.